Ethereum has been the easy target, the easy butt of so many jokes for the last, feels like forever. It's been one of the most pathetic coins in the top 10 as far as being a big mover, especially seeing Bitcoin back in November 2024 rocketing up to 109K. Ethereum only went up to like $4,000. And even since then, it fell all the way down to some god-awful, terrible low like $1,400. It has been the most depressing, devastating, terrible coin. And yes, if you're wondering, I still regret buying Ethereum. I still can't believe I bought it. But I'm slowly starting to see signs. Don't throw the computer just yet. I am starting to see signs that Ethereum is showing possible bullish reversal signals. I don't have confirmation on lots of different indicators, but I am starting to see signs that it should be moving up from here. I know this seems crazy, especially after all the hate that Ethereum has been getting and all of the jokes that have been well pointed at me from my Ethereum video. But I really do think that Ethereum is starting its reversal. I'm going to be talking about that and trying to keep this video shorter. So if you're new to this channel, welcome to the Coin Bureau Trading channel. My name is Aaron Dishner from The Better Traders. I'm super excited to share all this stuff with you. But before I do, make sure that you hit the subscribe button now, because I want to make sure that you don't forget, as you are razzle-dazzled, that's my saying now, with all this amazing charting information I'm going to share with you today. Now, I am using a paid indicator today. You don't have to have this indicator, but there's a reason why I'm using this indicator. Is because I've been using this thing since 2019, I believe. I've had many years of experience using this. I've learned how to use it well, and I'm still learning new ways how to use the TBO, the Trending Breakout Indicator. Now, again, I want to preface, you do not have to have this indicator. I'm showing you what I'm seeing based off of knowing this indicator well. The big, glaring, beautiful sign is this orange dot right here. This orange dot is called a TBO Close short. If you've been watching videos here on the Coin Bureau Trading channel, you should remember my excitement when I saw one of these exact signals. I saw a TBO Close short right here when Bitcoin was at $85,000. Now, this is typical behavior for a TBO Close short. Usually when we get one of these orange dots, we do not see the price just shoot all the way up to Valhalla. Okay, that doesn't happen right away. What usually happens with these is that the price will kind of chop sideways and eventually it will touch this pink line, which is the fastest moving average of the TBO fast line. That's normal behavior. When we see a closed short, it lets us know that the existing open short signal, and on BTC, we had an open short confirmed back here in February. So it's letting us know if we haven't taken profit yet in our short position, there's a good chance that the trend could be changing. It could be reversing to be bullish, which there it is right there. We have our bullish confirmation signal, which is a TBO open long. So this lets us know before we get our open long, you might want to consider taking some profits out of your short if you haven't done so yet. So now that we've seen that, I guess you could say it's in hindsight, I guess, or basically like the preview of what should be happening with Ethereum. Here we are looking at Ethereum. Now, the reality is that our TBO open short right here was a gorgeous entry for a short in hindsight. Good God almighty, that's an amazing short, going down a max of negative 57%. And if you haven't taken any profits yet on a short for Ethereum, now would be a good time to consider doing so when the price ideally retreats back to the TBO fast line, just like I showed with the price of Bitcoin. Now, zooming in to where we are right now, we haven't seen the price of Ethereum drop yet to the TBO fast line. But one thing that's really interesting is that the price is actually not retreating lower. In fact, the price of Ethereum is inside of what I call the daily TBO cloud. If you've ever used the Ichimoku cloud, it's very similar in that respect. If I hide this, while we're not seeing Ethereum inside of the Ichimoku cloud, which is this big mass right here, this mass that's projected forward, because that's how the Ichimoku cloud works. But when we start seeing the price go inside of the Ichimoku cloud, that is a sign that we're seeing bullish consolidation. The TBO just happens to show it happening a lot sooner. So it's similar in some ways to the Ichimoku cloud, okay? Now, here's the exciting thing. This is why I'm making the video. It's not just that we're seeing one of these orange dots. It's not just because the price is inside this red mass, this cloud. It's actually because the last time we saw one of these orange dots for Ethereum, it was all the way back over here, Thursday, September 28th, 2023. It's been a year and a half since we've seen a TBO close short. Want to know something that's even wilder? Look at the price point at which we saw the last one. It was at about $1,600. Basically the same price range as we were, or basically as the price range as we are right now. Now, I will be honest with you. When I see a TBO close short, the ideal situation for these is I want to see these orange dots as close as possible to this green dotted line, which is daily TBO support. It's just a good, or rather it's a better reversal signal for me. And looking at our current day and time, there we go, finally there, it's really, really, really high above support. So to this respect, I don't really like this fact that it's like, 18% above support. It doesn't discount its validity that this is a bullish reversal signal. And if you've been following my updates on the Coin Bureau Discord server or on X, you should know that I've been sharing a lot of charts that have been printing these exact same orange diamonds for a while. These are really exciting bullish reversal signals. But this is just one indicator. So let's remove the TBO altogether. Let's just talk about fibs. So fibs pertains to Fibonacci levels or Fibonacci retracement drawings. So these fib drawings, I have multiple that are here and I usually like to layer these. Let's just focus on the 2022 fibs, okay? And the 2022 Fibonacci retracement drawing starts from the very tip top here in November 2021 to the very bottom of the drop in June 2022. So this gives us a range at which we can predict future support and resistance levels, which it's done pretty well, I would say. We can see the price respecting the 0.5 fib level for resistance and support, resistance, support. It goes above, but it's struggling to really push above 33.77, even though it does go higher. We see it falling down, falling to support, resistance, and it almost comes down here. Now, the good thing about this is that we obviously didn't, it feels like we did, but we did not retrace to the full value of this drop. Our low back over here of $881 is awful. So the nice thing that we're seeing right now is that we're not actually struggling with one of these resistance levels. If you pay attention and you can notice and see, sometimes you have to blur your eyes a little bit, I guess, but look at the price. It's struggling to push above this blue Fibonacci retracement level. We can see the price struggling to push above the 618. We can see the price struggling to push above the 0.5. So we were expecting the same behavior, except on Tuesday, the 22nd, just last week, really, on Monday, the price of Ethereum pulled a surprise jab out of nowhere, a left hook out of nowhere, shooting up 11% in a day and successfully pushing above the 382 fib level. Now, I get it. Not everybody likes Fibonacci retracements. Not everyone believes in them. But the reality is that a lot of the market does. A lot of the market pays a lot of attention to Fibonacci retracement levels. One of the obvious problems that Ethereum is facing right now, aside from people just liking it in general or wanting to buy it because it's garbage, is that it has several CME gaps to the upside. Now, while these could be seen as bullish targets, let's be real. Ethereum going all the way up here to this next target is a 45% increase. I'm laughing because the fact that Ethereum moved up 11% in one day is mind-shattering. It is huge. So this idea of Ethereum shooting up to close the CME gap, not just at $2,600, but then again at 32 and 39, this one at the very top, something massive has to change in order for Ethereum to do that. While these could be perceived as bullish targets for Ethereum, these are really, really tall orders. These are really difficult, challenging prices for Ethereum to reach. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a challenge. Now, there is short-term resistance. And this short-term resistance line is messy. It's messy for several reasons. The way that I draw resistance is I find and identify the high, then I identify the next high. So we have our first high here to the next high here back in early January. Now we can see several quasi-tests. There's kind of a test here, kind of a test here. There's a clear pierce and a test here. Now, why don't I move this out like this? Well, the reason is obvious, because even though we did see a pierce above this, we see a test, and we haven't seen anything get close to that level yet. So in my mind, we have a pierce and a test from February, late January and February. We have nothing since then. There are no really clear overhead resistance levels. Now, if I wanted to be messy and say, okay, well, I'm going to take this high right here and go to this level right here, then we kind of have a breakout. But the problem with this is that we have these intersecting lines. This is not a really good way to draw resistance levels. And you can see the price is not really bullishly reacting to this either. So I don't really count that as valid whatsoever. Even if we were to say, okay, well, what about from this line to this line? Do we see some sort of, no, we don't see a good, strong argument for that being a strong level of resistance / support. So looking at the current price, an obvious overhead resistance, knowing that Ethereum will most likely not pump up 26% in a day. The biggest move that we've seen recently, aside from our 11% pump, is probably back over here, 13%, and again, 13%, and maybe something back here might be 11 or 8% or something like that, 9%. 26% will not happen in a day. I don't care what happens. It won't happen in a day. So given that fact, we can assume that it's going to be, if we get some upside continuation, there will still be resistance right around $2,150, which is really interesting because you might remember me talking about this level being a make or break level for Ethereum. I said that when Ethereum is approaching this level based off of this support, and this support, if it loses this level, which it clearly did, then it's game over for Ethereum. And what happened? It pierced it many times, broke it, came back up to test it as resistance, and it got rejected. And it fell down an additional 32%. So what is a very plausible outcome for Ethereum, even though it's bullish, even though we should see a move up higher, it's going to have a really hard time trying to break above overlapping price-based resistance and this diagonal line of resistance right here. And this is around the price point of $2,150. We need to keep that number in mind. Now, we don't have any Fibonacci levels that are at that exact price point, but the closest one is actually at $2,000, which is going to be, again, that's a pretty tall order for Ethereum. Not impossible, but it's going to be difficult. So aside from getting our bullish signal from the TBO, and yes, we have some really tasty CME gaps that we would love to see filled, the reality is that we're still very far away from even getting close to testing overhead resistance. We are above a significant Fibonacci level, and we're breaking this pattern of getting rejected at these projected Fibonacci retracement levels. So this is a good thing. Now, what about RSI? What about volume? What about on-balance volume? Yes, we're not just going to do the TBO. We're not just going to do drawings, not just going to do fibs. We're going to look at all three of these, but I want to draw your attention first to the description of this video. The reality is that indicators are great. And charting is a great skill to develop. You're going to learn a lot about that. But there are more tools and resources available to you in the description of this video below. A lot of you are trading using centralized exchanges, which is a necessary instrument for trading. Careful choice of words there if you noticed. But we have really great non-KYC requiring exchanges that you can check out. For one, CoinCatch. I'm using this exchange. It's great. And it's great because you can withdraw up to 50,000 USDT per day without submitting your ID, which is nice. You can sign up using our link that's provided in the description below, and you can actually get bonuses up to $4,000 based on your trading volume. There are more deals as well if you go to Coin Bureau's website, coinbureau.com. And when you're there, you'll see the big yellow deals button. Here, you'll see a link to join the Coin Bureau Club, which includes access to their Discord server. There's a ton of resources there. Dan, the other host of this channel, posts it all the time. Lots of analysis, lots of charts. It's ridiculous. There's so much there. It's amazing. There are other exchanges, other tools, other resources to sign up for here on the deals page, Plus, there is an exclusive 10% discount for all of you fantastic Coin Bureau people for our course, 15 Minutes to Financial Freedom at thebettertraders.com. When you hit the Buy Now button, it'll take you over to our website, thebettertraders.com, and your 10% discount is automatically applied. And I do want to remind you, yes, this is a busy week for crypto. There's Token 2049 in Dubai. Wish I could go. I really do. It'd be so fun. But I am not going to be there, but I will be at Consensus in Toronto for May 14th, 15th, 16th, but I will be there for a special event that we're having, a special training event on May 15th. More details are on the Better Traders website. So let's get back over here to talk about these 3 indicators, which are extremely important. If you've watched my videos for any amount of time, you should know that I focus on the same indicators for every single chart. Consistency is key when it comes to charting. If you're always trying to experiment and try out different indicators, like, oh, I think this one's a good fit for this chart, or oh, I like this one for this, you're not going to have really good results. You want to focus on using the same tool set over and over so you can really learn how to build confidence using indicators so that way you can make better decisions as a chartist and as a trader and investor. So that's why I continue to use volume, on-balance volume, and RSI, the TBO, all that good stuff. Now, let's just do one at a time. We're going to start with volume actually first. Now, this is not the normal volume indicator. If you just do volume, it's just boring, right? It's just this. And it's not a bad thing, but the difference in looking at volume right here, you can see it says volume ETH. Now, this isn't that helpful because I want to know how much volume is traded in Tether, which is where the TBT Base to quote currency converter comes into play. This is actually a free indicator that you can use on TradingView that automatically converts the base currency in this chart's scenario, it's Bitcoin, to the quote currency, which is Tether. So to add that, you just go to that page. I should have shown you. You go to the page and you scroll down till you see like the rocket icon, you hit that, and then you save it to your favorites, and that way it gets applied, which is great. And it also has, automatically it has a moving average applied. So this part's actually really important, this yellow line. It uses, I believe, a 30 SMA on this. Let me see if it says, yep, SMA 30. The reason why I have a smoothed moving average on here is because I want to use the moving average to determine and identify if there is a trend in volume. Well, it's great to have spikes in volume, which is helpful. When I can identify that volume is just overwhelming the moving average or the average amount of volume day over day over day over day, then I know that this move is not just going to be a flash in the pan little pump. There's volume to support the move, whether it's bullish or bearish. So bringing it back to where we are right now, are we seeing a massive change, a massive shift in volume? No, we're not. I really want to, but we're not seeing it. Not until we see something like this will Ethereum really be bullish, which is why this is a very early bullish reversal video, okay? I'm trying to give you the information about what to pay attention to. But when we start to see volume exceed this yellow moving average, just going above and higher, that's going to be a sign that will be accompanied with a lot of upside price continuation. So we're not seeing it yet, but that's something to pay attention to. And once we continue to see more volume and more green candle closes, that will positively affect on-balance volume. On-balance volume is a free indicator, and it's amazing because it basically shows you cumulative buying and selling. It rolls over, I guess you could say, the traded volume per day, and it basically gives you a cumulative volume. So this blue jagged line right here is on-balance volume. And you see I have a white moving average. I'm just using a very simple SMA, using a smooth moving average with the length of 21. Why 21? Just works well. So the main thing that I pay attention to when it comes to using on-balance volume is I want to identify if there is a trend intact. And a trend is obvious when we see this this white line moving down. Or if the white line is short-term moving up, we know that there is a trend. But when we get these moments of uh-ohs like this, and the white line goes flat, well, then we're seeing a lack of a trend. On-balance volume is going up and down, telling us that there is no trend, which is usually going to be a bearish sign. Not always. Like back over here was a bullish sign of growth. But what we really want to see is like this back here in Gasp November. A big green candle And guess what? There's going to be a whole lot of volume. So when we see consistently growing volume for Ethereum, it will dramatically push the blue jagged on-bounce volume line higher, which will, in turn, cause the white moving average to move up higher. So when we look at the current price, is it doing that right now? No, this is early. But I want to let you guys know earlier, not later. But what is happening that is striking to me is you can clearly see that this white line right here, although it's been in a downtrend for quite a while, look what's happening right here. It's curling up. This is what I call an elbow joint, I guess you could say. Now, this is really exciting because this is showing us an early bullish reversal sign. Not only is the blue jagged line on balance volume above the white moving average, this is actually showing us that volume is starting to become bullish, even if the price isn't rocketing up higher. But if we know that we're getting consistently green candles with more volume than usual, then that means on balance volume will go higher, and then we'll see this white line start to follow it as well. Okay, the last one I want to share with you is RSI. Now, Relative Strength Index is one of my favorite and easiest to use indicators. I think I have a video on how to use RSI on this channel as well. Now, when we go here to the settings, I use specific settings. I don't use the default setting of 14 because I find that that is way too slow for crypto. I use RSI with a length of 7, which is much more dramatic in its ups and downs. The big thing is that we saw Ethereum successfully break and move above this long-term level of overhead resistance back over here in mid-April, just a couple of weeks ago. And we've seen RSI shoot above this red line, which is 70. This is the overbought level that we watch. Now, when we see any charts that are overbought, you might be tempted to start selling. But the reality is that just because it's overbought does not mean that we instantly have to see the price go down. And we also want to pay attention to moments where we see continued overbought behavior. Case in point, again, back over here, we saw RSI stay overbought for Ethereum for a streak of 5 days. During this time, it went all the way up here to 89. Anytime we start to go close to the 80s, the high 80s, even to 90, that is a massively bullish signal. Even if the price goes sideways for a little bit, we need to pay attention to those signals. So to refresh your memory, are we there right now? No. RSI is still below overbought values. Again, this is an early-ish video. But the signs that I'm seeing for this argument, this case that we're seeing a bullish reversal for Ethereum, we're seeing on-balance volumes moving average curling upward. No evidence of volume growing yet, but I do think it's around the corner, especially if we see Ethereum push up higher. We know that Ethereum has not been rejected at the 382 Fibonacci level, which is great. We also know that we have resistance that's still a long ways away, and we need to see Ethereum at least push up to test resistance at 21.25, which from the current price is approximately about 15% above the immediate price, which is a good short-term target to have. Yes, we have these other targets that are way higher, our CME gaps, and yes, we're seeing a bullish reversal signal from the TBO, this close short, but we're still not there yet. Man, oh man, are we close. And it's getting extremely exciting, especially because a lot of people hate Ethereum still. But to be honest, we've seen a lot of these hated coins start to make a comeback rally, namely a lot of these meme coins. We've seen, we're starting to see signs for WIF to be moving up higher. We're starting to see signs of Floki moving up higher. We're starting to see signs of here's WIF. It's actually doing pretty well. We're seeing Radium moving up higher. A lot of these coins that people hated really recently. Even SPX is moving up. Nero had a massive pump. Like, meme coins are making a mean comeback. It's difficult because Ethereum is such a large market cap. It's hard to make these massive moves. But because Ethereum is doing well right now, this is starting to send up one of those flare signals to the rest of the crypto market that things could be turning around, specifically for alts. Now, Bitcoin is still at the edge of disaster. If it cannot close above 95K, I do expect it to have a pullback, which will negatively affect Ethereum and everything else. I want you to watch that video next because it'll lay out the argument, the case for why we should be watching Bitcoin at 95K. Because if it can't close above that level and hold it, It's not going to be going really well for Ethereum. It's going to push back the recovery. So watch that video next. Until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.